Hey guys, I'm the Dragon's Beard and I'm back with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and today we're in the Doom Tower and we're going to be checking out Bommal the Dreadhorn on hard 10. But the 50 and the 90 fight should work the same way as this with different speeds. So here's what we're doing. I've never seen this before. I've tried scouring the internet to see if anybody else has come up with this, and I believe that this is the first time. We're going to speed tune the fight. So instead of the solo strategies that you've seen with Burangiri, or you've seen with Samar Jimcurst, what we're going to be doing here is we're going to have a specific set of roles for different champions, but really the champions you're using can flex. So I'm going to hop into the clan boss calculator and kind of show you what I'm thinking here, and then we'll hop back and I'll explain how the different champions work together and then show you how it works in action. Alright guys, so we're over here in the calculator for clan boss, but we're not going to be talking anything about clan boss. I'm just using this as a way to show the turn order, because Ultra Nightmare clan boss and Bommal hard 10 both have the same speed at 190. So ignore the abilities and all this. The turn order is what's important. So I've got my champions here that are all kind of roughly between 191 and 199. We're going to go just ahead of Bommal the Dreadhorn every time. And what should happen here is that everybody's going to take their turns. Roshcard is going to go last, throw out block damage, and then after the Dreadbombs explode, we're going to be able to block one of the boss's abilities, and we're also going to be able to block that entire Dreadbomb damage. So it's the exact same concept as what makes Samar Jimcurst able to solo, except instead of using a passive ability, we're going to use the 4-turn cooldown, since the Roshcard the tower and the boss stay in sync. So I've got Roshcard at 191, everybody else just slightly faster. The turn order that I have set up is to where Annex goes first. That way he can do decreased accuracy. And then I've just got the block debuffs going up, so that way in case anybody had a bomb on them, they're less likely to get stunned while they're taking the turn. It's going to change a little bit because the order of the rest of the boss's abilities happens kind of out of sync, but the bombs or the dread bombs are every 4 turns. The dread bomb speed is 75, so what should happen is he'll summon them, he'll take 2 turns, then they'll explode, and then he'll have 1 turn before he summons them again. So that's the concept here. I haven't got really other nuances worked out, but I can tell you that this does work, and I'm going to show you here as soon as we get through the waves, which take forever because this is a very slow damage team. So hop over back to the game. I'm going to show you the setup, and then we'll kind of go from there. Alright, so here we are. The champions have a little bit of flexibility here. Really, it's the roles that are important for each of them. So the reason why I'm running Brogni here is because of the block debuffs and then also the resistance aura. He's one of my best resistance aura. I don't have any of the crazy ones that are higher than his. But we've got Doom Priest in here as a cleanser and like a passive healer. Since we're not taking the giant chunks of damage from the dread bombs, it really trivializes the amount of incoming damage. We're going to try to resist as many bombs as we can. And then she's going to use her heals along with Steel Skull to kind of passively heal everybody back up to full. So Tower, his job is to do that damage blocking. So we're going to throw up that cooldown right before the dread bombs. Steel Skull is kind of, as I mentioned, healing, but then he's also going to be throwing up a little bit of poisons. I do have some accuracy on him that allows him to do that. And then NX is my decreased accuracy, but then he's also going to be the primary damage dealer because he's got the weaken, he's got the extra poisons and everything like that. So that's the idea. Who can be used other than this? We've got Tahanarak that can be used in place of Doom Priest. We've got potentially Warcaster in place of Roshcard the Tower if you don't have him as a legendary, who also has the 4 turns block damage. You could use like Vogoth or somebody like that, Melga, instead of Steel Skull. You could use Yoshi for decreased accuracy. You could use Whirlim for that as well. So kind of the usual suspects that you see in the best teams can fit into this team as well. But like I don't have Uragrim, I don't have Badalkazar, I don't have Duchess. I don't have Samar Jimcurst. I do have a Burangiri, but as far as I can understand, he does not work on hard 90, so I'm not really going to be pouring a lot of resources into him, only to have it stop working on the hardest difficulty. This concept, the speeds are going to be different at the higher speed or at the higher difficulties, but the concept should work across the board. So I am going to get this started. I'm going to run through just on auto for the waves because as I mentioned, this team does not have a lot of offensive stats. It's mostly just resistance and other stuff. And then when it gets to the end of Wave 2, I'm going to just finish off everybody with A1 so that we have all of our cooldowns fresh going into the boss fight. I do not think that this is going to be a full auto team, even though it is tuned. because you still have to kind of sync up how the abilities work when you're at the boss itself. So I will cut closer to that point and then show you kind of how that works. Alright guys, so here we are at the boss. The waves took forever, like 5 minutes on auto, because again, this is just a proof of concept team. It is not optimized by any means. But it's worked twice for me so far, so I kind of want to show it live to make it make sense. So we're going to go, just like I described, all 5 people taking their turns, get everything up there, and then he's going to take his turn and summon the Dreadbomb. So Annex first to do decreased accuracy. Brogni, block debuffs, doesn't really matter at this point. There's not really any damage going out. Little poison maybe. I'm not using Doom Priest A2, but because I've already got increased accuracy or attack. But here's the block damage. We're not using it yet though. Dread bombs are not out, so we're gonna save that until their turn meter starts to get closer to full. So all 5 turns. Now what we should see is that we're gonna be able to go in the same order again, and the Dread bombs are just gonna be sitting there doing their thing. So don't really need to heal yet. Not really any damage that has happened. Pretty much just A1s at this point. That bomb's not really going to be a big deal because we're going to block the next attack and give us a chance to heal up here. So I am going to use the single target heal just there. And then see how the turn meter on the Dread Bombs is just about full. Now we are going to use the block damage. But what's going to happen is both Dread Bombs and the boss are going to attack while that buff is up. So there's the boss attack. It's a 2-turn duration. So this is the part where I need to work out to get Warcaster to work. I think I should have saved it 1 more turn if it's Warcaster, but then he would need to be the fastest champion. Not quite sure yet. That is, again, this is brand new concepts. But here we go. There's the first one, completely blocked. And the second one will go off here in a second, and it'll still be blocked. So we took no damage. That 80% of our max HP that we would have seen without block damage, nothing to worry about there. And that itself just really trivializes the fight. At this point, it's just a slow damage fight. And the sinking, because we're speed tuned, is going to be the same for the rest of the way. This would go faster if everybody had tier 6 masteries. This would go faster if I had crit rate on these champions. If, you know, tower wasn't weak affinity, but this is just what I'm rolling with. So Dread Bombs are back up. We are going to cycle back through. Heal just because. I've got enough resistance on these champions that with decreased accuracy or without decreased accuracy, he shouldn't be able to strip the buffs away. But it doesn't matter because his strip attack does not happen after the block damage is up. So here we go. Don't really need to heal. Turn meter's starting to fill up on the Dread Bombs, but by the time it gets back around to tower, here it is. He's got his cooldown. There's the boss. Then we're going to have a couple turns, and then we will have the Dread Bombs go off. Still while the block damage is working here. What I'm trying to do is see if there's a way that we can take one of the clan boss calculators and edit it to have the speeds of the boss and the Dread Bombs added in. The Dread Bombs are 75 speed regardless of difficulty. So they're going to fill up slowly, never changes. The boss goes from 190 on hard 10 to 210 on hard 50, and then he jumps all the way up to 250 speed on hard 90. So that's going to be the trickiest one, but the concepts, as long as tower gets faster as well and matches his speed, should apply to any of the difficulties. You would just have to tweak the champions. And if we're really lucky, the bottom 2 difficulties would be able to use the same speeds, kind of the way that Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare clan boss on a standard 1-to-1 tune will work, as long as you've got them within the range of like 171 to 189 on Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare. I'm hoping if we stay between 191 and 209 that same thing will work on this fight. But again, we don't know yet. There's not really any information about that. We're trying to pioneer this right now. So coming back around to the cooldown, you can see it's not fast, it's not auto, but I'm not in any risk of dying here. And after you take the bomb damage out of the fight, then there is so much less that's going on here. So cooldown's back, bombs are about to go off, block the boss. Couple more turns here, and then block the Dread Bombs. I think that honestly, if I slowed down NX and Brogni, they might actually, and Steel Skull here, they might actually take their turn after the bombs go off. And that might be the key to using War Master, is to have those other 3 champions slower to where the bombs go off ahead of their turns. So I'm going to kind of go to the drawing board a little bit more on that as we theorize more of what the rest of this looks like. You can use those other champions that are good for the fight, though, like BEK for healing and poison, or Eurogrim or whatever. You can use those in this team as well. You just kind of want to make sure that all the rest of those important roles are filled, because you do need resistance on these champions. You do need decreased accuracy to prevent the regular bombs and the stuns and the rest of the buff strips from coming in. So still going, slow, steady, and we got one more turn on his cooldown. Should be back in time for that next round of bombs. Alright, here we go. Boss attack. I think 3 champions go. I don't really know why I used the block debuffs there, because there's not really anything that it's doing. So slow and steady. Again, stays in sync. I've done this. This is the 3rd attempt. The first attempt was really bad. Like I had no books on tower, and his cooldowns weren't back in time because of 6 turns. So I actually brought Raglan in to speed him up, and then I also used Painkeeper from my clan boss team to reduce the cooldown. It was not tuned, but I just wanted to make sure that block damage worked right before I went and tried to re-gear the rest of the team to actually work this way. So I will show the screenshot from the end result of that fight, but it wasn't really pretty, but it worked. Starting to get it down here. Kind of an autopilot at this point. Here's the block damage. A little bit more poison, and then we'll be able to finish this guy off. So the other thing I had a thought about was, could we use Maneater and Painkeeper the same way we do in a Bad Eater in order to stay on that 4-turn cycle the same way as the boss goes? You know, it's the same thing as what he's doing. He's doing 5-turn cooldown with an extra turn. We would be doing a 5-turn cooldown with a cooldown reduction. So I think it could work. Painkeeper's heal would be really nice too, because you're actually taking the bomb damage when you're using Unkillable instead of block damage. And then you could use Painkeeper's heal right after, and you could throw in a champion like Vogoth in order to heal back half of the bomb damage you took. Because again, the bombs aren't going to kill you, but you know, a high HP Vogoth with the passive would be great. And then Vogoth is great for this fight too, because extending the decreased accuracy. And that's something that he's got on his A1 that not a lot of people pay attention to, since it's not applicable to a lot of the places you use him, but it is here. So I kind of want to theorize that. I want to see if we get a calculator working before I do any of that, but there we go. So that is a speed-tuned Bommal the Dreadhorn on Hard Doom Tower 10. Okay, before I show you the champion builds, here's that Painkeeper Raglan team I was talking about. I didn't have Roshcard or Anax booked yet because I wanted to save those points for CVC when it started. And then that Raglan and Painkeeper combo is just what I was using to simulate having a 4-turn cooldown even when it was a 6, and it worked. So kind of silly comp there. And then one of my clanmates, Crichton, had put this together. This is what he used to clear floor 50 using the same idea. So we tuned his tower and his Doom Priest in order to stay close to the boss's speed. I think he had something like 211 on the tower and the 212 on Doom Priest, just in case tower got stunned. And with the rest of his team, he was able to clear it using that. So 2 different ways that we've been able to make it work that are very unorthodox compared to the rest of the stuff that people have been going through. So let me show you the builds. The stuff is not super great. Look again, so much plus 12 gear here. Doom Priest, really just wanted her in there for A1s with War Master, and then also passive healing, so that's really all she was doing. 193 speed, 388 resist. And then we've got, who else? Tower. So Tower, no masteries. I did get his A3 booked. Yeah, I didn't use his A2 in that whole fight, but he has enough resistance that blocking the buffs on the boss could actually be useful. Plus, since he's an HP champ, that'll probably do more damage. But I wasn't thinking about that until afterwards. He's 190 speed, tied with the boss, but since the attacker goes ahead of the defender, so that's the reason why he goes ahead of the boss, even when they're both at 190 speed. Anax, very defensive build, 198 speed, fastest champion, no offense stats. He did need enough accuracy in order to land the debuffs. That decrease accuracy is super important, and then the poisons, since that's the source of most of the damage. Let's see, Steel Skull, old clan boss champion. I just had him leveled, so he already had tier 6 masteries. I had to take him out of Evil Eye though, because we did not want to spawn any more dread bombs when we reduced the turn meter. He again has the speed that we talked about, also resistance and accuracy. Not really any offensive stats there. And then let's see, last champion being Brogni. I had my Brogni running a lot faster, but I slowed him down in order to put this together. He's really, if I had a different aura, I didn't really even need him in the team. So good HP, not really much offense stats. Stays in that speed range we're looking for. I didn't want accuracy on him because I didn't really need him landing the HP burn. The HP burn would make the dread bombs tick their turn rate up faster, and kind of is counterintuitive to what we want. We want it to stay at the same time every time. But if we get this worked out with a calculator, I think that we could simulate both the dread bombs getting HP burn damage and not. We'll get there later, and then resistance as well. So he has Giant Slayer just because the shield incoming damage has a chance to proc more than once based off of how many people get hit. So that's the idea. I want to keep going with this. I want to try it on 50, and then I'm going to see if there's a way that we can incorporate that Speed Toon Tower into Doom Tower 90, because I don't have any of those meta champs that everybody else has used on the test server. So I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe, please, if you want to keep seeing what's coming next here. I hope that some of the big brains over at Deadwood Jedi or other content creators can get this concept and kind of take it to the next level. I really love that Order from Chaos kind of idea, from clan boss tuning and everything like that. If you can tell from the rest of my channel, it's almost all clan boss stuff. So if we can have tuning around Bommal to make it easier for more of the player base to be able to complete that fight, then I would absolutely love that, so that we don't have to wait for them to potentially nerf it or what have in order to get people past hard 90. So until then, I'm the Dragon's Beard. Thanks for watching.